Hello guys, and welcome back to a new game of Wargame European Escalation. Today I'm bringing you a 1v1 on Hell's Highway, so different map to usual, and I hope you will enjoy this complete domination of a 1v1. So, anyway, speed up the deployment a bit so I can talk to you about what I was planning on doing. I obviously didn't know what he had at the start, so I won't talk too much about that. I'll just talk about it when it comes. But anyway, first of all, I was sorting out my task force for the right side of the map, which was to do with defending this Sultan, which is a command vehicle, which I was going to move up to Golf, placing this back bush here, which is most of the time where people put it, but it's quite predictable. But it doesn't matter too much, because if you have a decent defensive line here, they can't really get around you unless they sneak around the woods, which most people can't be bothered to do. And then even if they do that, if you have an AA here or something, they will get spotted, and you can just move the command vehicle away from Golf as soon as possible. I get a Max Vet Chaparral, which is probably the best AA vehicle in the game once it's Max Vet. Just one of those because they're one-shot aircraft. I was going to place it around here. Then the Zippo and two VABs with chasseurs were going to take up the front line in this woods here, just for some light defense. A tank rush would probably kill it, but I wasn't too concerned about that because I have a recon here which will spot that early if needs be. On the left side, I decided on 4 challengers, which is a very heavy tank push at the start. It is quite a risky strategy because you're placing a lot of points into the game. They are supported by 2 AMX Rolands, which are very good supporting vehicles at the start. A Bradley, obviously, for recon, and it has an amazing ATGM, so it can help with any heavy tanks. And finally, obviously, my command armor, which didn't have any protection to begin with, but I bring it in soon after, because what I realised at the beginning is that I don't have a command vehicle for the main base, and therefore I have to delete units, as you may have seen, which was 2 Cobras and something else. I think it was an extra Chaparral, which was supposed to protect this from aircraft which would have come in. Anyway, I also forgot my base AA, so I bring in a couple of units of that, and in the meanwhile my Gazelle, which I placed over on the very right, is sweeping around the back to see if I can pick off any command vehicles. Anyway, at this point I was a bit like, okay, what is he doing? Because Alpha went dark and he obviously didn't have his command vehicle there, so I obviously knew that he was going to take Bravo because it's the only other reinforcement point that he could take. So what I decided to do is, it is quite a common strategy for the Russian side on this map to go for Bravo because it's a hill position and it's quite easy to defend. But the only trouble with that is, as you'll see later, is that from spotting this, when I'm assured that he is taking Bravo, I cut him off with my challengers. So there we go, Golf secured. I managed to get the Sultan into the right side bush. In the meantime, the Gazelle is going around the back. He takes Bravo, which makes me certain of his strategy of bringing in reinforcements from this point and not at Alpha. The same, I'm planning on bringing reinforcements in here, but I've got one in Hotel as well, so that helps me with a backup plan if he decides to cut me off over here. You know, Chaparral and Zippo are catching up. The only trouble with the Zippo on these kinds of maps is that they run out of fuel very quickly, and you have to be very careful when moving them over long distances. So that's the only trouble with the Zippo, but they are very useful to have with infantry. Yeah, as you can see, my Gazelle's moving around the back to see if he can snipe the command vehicle in Bravo. at this point in time, you can see that actually his command vehicle is out in the open, and my Gazelle does spot it. And I'm just about to fire, but unfortunately he has 2 anti-aircraft missile things plus 2. Those are the most accurate Russian anti-aircraft that you can get. And before this thing can even fire, he gets shot down with the help of 2 cannon AA units. Anyway, as I said, look, you can see that he's bringing in his reinforcements from here, and he's built up a small force of infantry and APCs on the right side. I just secure my position in Foxtrot with a chaparral, which is max vetted, so that if he brings any helicopters around, they get 1 shot. Also a Stinger troops on the left, just as a little extra defense, and 1 unit of chasseurs for any rush APC attack which may occur from coming down this road. But obviously I'm not too concerned about that at the moment. I'm busy splitting up my challenges to make them into small task groups. My Bradley with his long range accurate tow missile, I make fire onto this BMP cavalry tank prototype, which is basically a APC kind of thing with a large gun on it. But challenges come into range, make short work of that. So it's an extra 45 points for me at the start of the game. I've already lost 25 due to that Gazelle, but I'm not too concerned about anything else at the moment, because my recon on the right side is fine, and anything on the left side would probably come down this road. If it came down the middle, I probably would have been completely surprised, but I knew he'd pushed all of his stuff to Bravo just because he left everything from Alpha. Anyway, he decides to bring in some Mi-24s, but I have my Roland sitting right here, and as soon as he brings them in, I shoot them down straight away, and that makes some very short work of him. He tries to get them out of there, but I cut him off before he can. And that's another 100 points. So just from him moving his command truck from here to here, I have already got bagged myself 150 points. Because obviously he's got the hill advantage here, a recon down here won't be able to see up the hill. So I decided to bring in a Gazelle chopper, which has an exceptional optics on it, which is very good for scouting over hills like this. So I decided to bring it in and put it way behind my own Rolands and tanks, so that my tanks can have clear sight on anything that decides to sit on the edge of the hill. At this point I was a bit like, well, what is he doing? Because he could have easily just moved out and gone back to Alpha, in which case I probably would have pushed, but I wanted to be sure with this recon, but I can't see anything there at the moment. Obviously I can see this, and I know that there's going to be a lot there because it's common. I've seen it in a lot of replays which I've analysed, but because I know that there's going to be quite a strong defensive position, I decided to bring in the arty, and you'll see that it doesn't necessarily help, but it panics him a little bit and helps me to break up his forces in that area. I also bring in a couple of Vulcans because I'm not too keen on his plans with Charlie, because I don't know what's here at the moment. With this part I can see all of these tanks, and well, not tanks, but anti-aircraft vehicles, and I start to arty that as soon as my arty guns get into position. These Vulcans are to go into these 2 bushes, or these 2 forests here, to make sure that any side attacks don't do too much damage. In the meantime, he decides to bring in some tanks to try and challenge my challengers, but at such close range, challengers make quick work of them. And just in time, my Chinook comes in to resupply these challengers with fuel and repair them from that small attack. On the right side at this very moment, I spot the charge of infantry, which obviously came from Charlie. I was kind of shitting my pants at this point, but when I only saw that this was what he had, I quickly brought in a couple of helicopters, which we'll see in a minute. Yeah, there you are. A couple of helicopters to come and support against this charge. I move my chasseurs forwards, and my Zippo comes into the range of these supply trucks, which makes short work of, because if he gets the infantry out and they're in range of the supply trucks, my infantry will die instantly to his, and that is not a good idea. So anyway, he moves all these BMPs forwards, and I keep attacking him with the VABs and the chasseurs, which make short work of most of the stuff on the right side. As you can see, the Zippo is very, very useful for these kind of rushes from the Russians. I mean, that is why I always keep them in a small defence. In the meantime, my Cobras arrive and start picking off these BTRs to try and rush towards my looks. But fortunately, I managed to take care of them before they can drop off any troops. I'm not sure if they even have troops in them, but it doesn't really matter too much. Anyway, while I'm distracted over there, he decides to bring in a few BMPs on the left side to try and take care of my challengers, but they make short work of the BMPs, which was pretty useless, to be honest. He obviously thought that I would be distracted, but even if I was, the challengers would automatically kill anything from that range, so it doesn't matter too much. So yeah, that stunted his push on the right side. I'm not sure what happens to Charlie at this point. I think he just moves the he's just moving the command truck backwards in case I counter-attack him. But he moves it to Alpha in the end, I believe, so that he can start getting reinforcements from there, where he's seen that I'm cutting him off from the left. Obviously he can't see what I have here at the moment, but he knows that I have quite a lot of he knows obviously the challenges are there, but he's not sure what else. Anyway, as you can see, he has T-80s and T-80Bs on this side, and he can see these tanks which I move forwards, because I know they're there because of my own helicopter, which is sitting here. And obviously they've spotted them, and they're sitting out of range, and if they had a recon they could have just sniped me in these bushes. So I'm forced to push my challengers forwards. Fortunately, the front armour of challengers is very strong, so it can take a few ATGMs to the front. And with the help of this Bradley, I managed to do a lot of damage to these T-80Bs, which stuns and makes them reload very slowly because they're being attacked by 4 guns to 2. You can see my Bradley hit again then, and I managed to take out one of the T-80Bs before they retreat, which is a fair trade in that I haven't actually taken that much damage on my challengers. But I decided not to push up, because if I push over the hill, I saw those 4 tanks there, if I decide to push over the hill and I'm too close range, the challengers will get absolutely annihilated, because they will be on almost equal ground when it comes to... It'll be basically based on who fires first. Anyway, at this point I bring my Cobras over to support this attack on the left, but the anti-aircraft that I was talking about earlier, which took out the Gazelle, continues to attack my Cobras, which still have the bug, which they haven't fixed, where the rotor doesn't turn. Anyway, they decide to bring in another couple of BMP cavalry tank prototypes, which get annihilated again, which seems to be pointless, considering they're just giving me points at the moment. And anyway, yeah, my arty's still firing on this position. It was originally firing where the T-80s were, but they decided to retreat the T-80s and the anti-aircraft that was with it that I was targeting. So I decided to eventually move the thing to the right, the targeting to the right. In the meantime, he pushes the long-range anti-air missile up, which snipes one of my or the scout helicopter, which I had here. I brought in a couple of Lynx tows to help me with the T-80s, but obviously they're in a bit of trouble with that long-range anti-aircraft. My Chinook has to land further back because of that as well, and you can see I've split up all my Challengers into single units so that they can each be controlled on their own, and I can micromanage the repairs as needed. So you can see that I've stopped these guys getting fuel, and I'm moving these two, which are damaged, to get repaired. At this point, he decides to push over the edge with the T-80B, and I'm a bit like, well, okay, what is he doing? But I believe he might have been baiting the ATGM, which I fire at him. I am blind firing this area at the moment, hence why the RT shots are going very, very wide. These are not very accurate guns or artillery guns, so they need to have corrected shot to be useful. But anyway, I just decided to spread fire all over Bravo just to see if I could get any lucky shots, because I may as well, considering I know that I'm this far ahead. Currently I'm 785 points in, over 145 that he has. He finally decides to make the push anyway, and as my tanks are resupplying, I end up having to turn them around to face this oncoming charge that is about to happen. The URALs, which he brings in front, are basically used for distraction. But you can see this Bradley is so useful in that it has incredibly accurate ATGMs. I should probably moved it back into the Chinook resupply range, so it could have got more ATGMs and fired back. But at max range, the Challengers easily outgun T-80s because of the armor that the Challengers have. But I make all the Challengers focus fire the T-80s, and in the meantime, the ZSUs start to, or begin to get sniped by my Lynx tows, which are back here in reserve, because I can't see the rocket artillery that's come. He decides, I can't see the rocket artillery, so I decided to bring them forward. But you can see on the left side, while he was attacking the front, he brought in those helicopters, which easily got shot down by my Rolands again, which was very lucky. He tried to attack these tows. You can see one of them took damage. And at this point, this is total victory pretty much, because these are the last two tanks. If I destroy both of these tanks, I know that I've won, because these tanks are worth about 120 each, and I have at 1,360 points. The score limit's 1,500 points to 125 points, and so I decided to keep firing, keep firing, keep firing, and finally, after he's forced to reinforce from the left again, I get the victory. And there we have it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this particular Wargame game. It was very successful for me, and that is one of my best 1v1s I've ever played. The strategy that I used worked very well. If a Russian on this particular map decides to do that, it is a very good idea to cut him off, because you will get so many points. And you can see that I only lost 145 points worth of men, which was the Gazelle, the Gazelle at the start, the Gazelle, the Scout Gazelle, and finally something else. I can't quite remember what it is, but anyway, and I end up with 1,500 points. So you can see how much I dominated this match. He's only 5 levels below me, so there's no difference there. Also with ranking. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. It's a particularly short game, and I'm going to bring more 1v1s in the future because they are much shorter and much more action packed. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.